Since now we set up the environment, we will actually develop some web pages. So to do this, I'm going to use FileZilla to connect to the database or web server, and then editing will be done by Visual Studio Code. But again, for Windows user, you can use WinSP as an alternative. So in the future videos, sometimes I may use FileZilla and sometimes I may use WinSP, but it does not make a big difference. So in this video, let me use FileZilla, and what's the host? var hala.sourcevalue.edu and the username. This is my username and the password. Let me type my password. And don't forget the port number. It's 22. So let's connect. Okay, so I will just establish a connection. So after I connected, this is my home directory, right? So under home, and your username is the directory name. And now you may have a public underbar HTML. And if you double click, you must have M4T1 subdirectory if you set up the environment following the previous video. And if you double click, you may have my test.html already. So instead of my test.html, we are going to make a new web page. So let's create a new web page. So right click, create a new file, and this time we want to name it as my how about first.html. So my first.html. Okay, so now we have my first.html, and if you set up the editor linked with the FileZilla, you may just directly edit it. So let me just show you one more time. So if you go to setting for Mac users, you must have a file editing, and we are using a common editor, Visual Studio Code. For Windows users, actually, you may have a different location where this application is saved. If you forgot, please refer to the video guide that I have posted already. Okay, good. So we have this my first.html, and I'm going to edit it. So right click and view and edit, and it will automatically open this file, my first.html. So when it opens, the kind of mechanism behind this is we are downloading this file in this temp directory. So make a copy in your local machine, and after you edit it, if you click save, you go back to FileZilla, and you must confirm that you uploaded the changes. So I will show you this pretty soon. Okay, so as a kind of first step to make your web page, we start with HTML tag. So you can type HTML, and then if you close, actually this is the editor for developers, so it will automatically create this closing tag, right? And then let's divide this HTML page into two different parts. The first one is heading part. So we have a head, and let's make a skeleton code. So here body part. So let's create the body part. So as an example of tag inside the head, we wanna test title. So let's say title, and I wanna use some indentation. So here, using tab, you can move this tags. So actually it does not matter how many spaces you use here. However, when you develop your own web page, it's a kind of a good habit to use some indentation. By doing this, you can clearly figure out the structure of your web page. So currently the most outer, the tag is HTML. So inside HTML, in this level, we have head and body. And further inside the head, using indentation, you can see that we have a title. Without indentation, it's a little bit difficult to read. Okay, so as a title, let's say we have name of this page as my first HTML page. So let's make it as a title. And inside the body, I think we have done before, but let me use again tab. And in this level, we wanna make a paragraph. So let's make a paragraph. And as an HTML element, let's say this is my first paragraph. When you are coding or programming, I really want you to debug very frequently. So before you add more, if you think it's a pretty decent size of a coding, for example, here we have already added 12 lines. It's a good timing to check your code whether it's working correctly or not. So let's save this file first. You can click Command S or Control S. Also, you can, from file, you can click save as well. So let's just save it. After you save this file in your local computer, please don't forget, if you use FileZilla, you must go back to FileZilla, and then you will see there is a pop-up message. File has changed, and whether you want to upload this changed file. So always after making some changes, go back to FileZilla, and then this click manually by clicking yes, you can upload this updated file. So on top, you can see that the updated file has been uploaded successfully, right? So now my first HTML page is ready, and we want to open this. Again, in your browser, you're communicating with the server. So in this tab, we will type the correct URL address. So https and Valhalla sourcevalue.edu. This is a server name. And first we have to point the public HTML directory. So / and the tilde, wave sign, and your username. So what's your username? My username is this. And if you type your username, this URL address is pointing which directory? Public HTML directory. So if you compare this with your directory, so here is your directory, and by typing this URL address, we are already here in public _ HTML directory. Now following the same structure, under public HTML we have M4T1. So after this, do not write down public HTML. It's already in public HTML. So under this, we have M1T1 subdirectory. And under this directory, what is the file name? My first.html. So my first.html. So we can just click enter. And you can see here, this is my first paragraph that we just added in this page. And also, you may want to wonder, where is this heading part? My first HTML page. Heading part, the title is given not in the main body contents, but if you look at on top here, as a title of this tab, what you can see, my first HTML page, that's the title. Okay, now go back to your current web page. Before we further test some other HTML tags, I want to introduce you the HTML commands. So commands is a kind of powerful tool for many developers when they add some notes and memos in their codings. So for HTML commands, same uses can be used and inserted inside the HTML code to make it more readable and understandable. But in the browser, these commands will be totally ignored and it will not be displayed. So let's do some practice. For example, here, body. Before the paragraph, let's say we want to add some note, comment, then start with this single kinked parentheses, and let's start with exclamation mark, and then add 2 slash. So now it is automatically filled. So this is comment beginning tag, and this is ending tag. So inside here in the middle, you can add anything. So for example, let's say this is starting point of a new paragraph, something like that. So we add this comment, and it is called HTML comment, and let's save it. So I will save it by using the shortcuts of Command S or Control S. Save it, and then what you have to do, go back to your FileZilla, and then it will ask whether you wanna upload this change. So yes, and then we have this updated my first HTML, and the next step, we need to test it, right? So we wanna frequently test it. So go back to your browser, and you need to refresh it. You can just highlight the URL address and hit enter, or you can click this refresh button. So let's reload the web page. Can you see any change? No, actually there is no change. But where is that HTML command? To see this, you may want to right click, and you may want to see the page source. So view page source. And then in this source code, you can see this HTML command, but it's a green color, and you can see this commands. Although it's inside your HTML source, the browser does not show this content. Okay, now let's move on. How about adding some headings? So heading tag is H tag, and there are several different levels, H1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. H1 is the biggest heading, and the next level, and so on. So let's just start with H1. So now as a heading 1, let's say this is a heading 1. Okay, again, after you add one line, frequently debug it. So I want to save it, so I will use shortcut, and I saved. And then you can go back to FileZilla, and then you will click yes. So it is updated. The file is updated on the server. And next, open your browser, and let's reload it. So now you can see there is an updated web page, and we have this is heading 1 using heading tag. Again, if you want to see the source code, you can always right click and view page source, and you can see there is a heading, and this is shown in your browser like this. Now similarly, I want to test heading 2 and heading 3. So let's add heading 2 and heading 3 after heading 1. So let's see. I just copy and paste my code here. So I will name it as heading 2 to distinguish them. So heading 3. So I added these 2 lines. And then I will test it. So I will save it. And I will update the file on the server by clicking yes. And then I will open browser. And then I will refresh it. So now I have heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. And there is my first paragraph. Okay, so next one is line break. As an example, in this current paragraph, this is my first paragraph. I want to write this is in the first line, but I will change the line, and in the second line, I want to write this, my first paragraph. Then what we have to do? In HTML, if you just put like this, what will happen? If I save it, and if I upload this changes, and then test it in the browser, there is no change. What this means is in HTML, just changing the line, it's just ignored. Still, it will recognize it as just one space between is and my. Then how can we change the line? You have to explicitly add a tag called line break tag. So to do this, let's add br tag. So if it's BR, you can just close it and like this, you add one tag. So it's not a set of beginning and ending tag, but you can just put everything in one tag. So BR, because there is no element you want to show. So if you add this line break, let's save it. And again, you will update your server file and then go to your browser and let's refresh it. So can you see the difference now? Yes. After this is we have a line break. So adding by BR with a slash, you can add a line break now. Now I would like to test a few different formatting tags. So I will just copy some portions from your class note. So after the first paragraph, I want to add those examples. So let's see. Big and bold, and so let me use some indentation so you can better understand this. So let me use. Oh, by the way, if you wanna move multiple lines, you can just highlight multiple lines, and then if you use tab, you can give some indentation for multiple lines. So now we have this a few new paragraph, and inside each paragraph, you have some additional tags. So B tag is enclosing this text. So B tag is for bold text, and the big is big text. I stands for italic, DL stands for deleted, and the code means kind of a code style text. You can also use a sub or sub. Sub is subscripted text. Here SUP means superscripted text. So let's test it. So save it, go to FileZilla, upload it, and then open browser and refresh it. So you can see many different formatting tags tested here. Bold, big, italic, and deleted, and this is code style, and this is subscript, and that one is superscript. Okay, now add some more. So after this, I want to add a horizontal line. So similar to line break, horizontal line is HR tag, and there is no element you want to show, so you can just close it. So you will add additional horizontal line. So let me just save it and upload here, and then I will test. So go to browser and refresh. Actually, the shortcut is Command R or Control R. So I will just refresh it. So you can see here a horizontal line is added.